Hey gang, welcome back to Jade's Garage. Today's video, I am going to be applying epoxy primer to the bare metal spots on the fenders and various other pieces of the car for the '68 Mustang known as Jade. If you like videos like this, hit the subscribe button and the bell notification to see more. Now the situation is, I've been working on these fenders, the hood, valance panels, trying to get them ready, for primer. And so I've done some body filler work to take care of low spots and make them smooth as it should be. So what I want to do now is get everything ready to go and get some epoxy on here so that can start its job, of adhering to the bare metal in particular. And then I'll come back and put some high build primer on top of that. Now, as I've said, I've done body work to these panels. This rear valance, it was all beat up. There was really not much I could do besides kind of skim coat it with filler, but it is smooth now and I know it fits the car, so I'm happy with that. Front valance, same way, or the rock guard, it had issues where it had some dents and stuff in it. That's all ready to go. There's the other half of the valance. And you can see, hopefully see, there's like a pencil mark right there. What I do whenever I'm doing body work on these panels and I find a bad area, sometimes you can't remember where it's at. So, pro tip, take a pencil and just kind of highlight it. So you can see there's a bit of a pencil mark there, some there, and over here, there's a shadow with a pencil mark, and down here, I believe there's another one. So the idea being, the pencil mark won't hurt anything, and you can sand it off or leave it, but at least you have a way to identify where your bad spots are, so when you mix up your putty, you're ready to go and you can just get it in place. Front valance, now of course, this is that custom valance that I made, and I have filler on it. Very happy with how this looks, and I'm looking forward to seeing it in actual primer to give a better overview. Fenders, well, I've talked about it in my regular videos. There was filler work needed here because this had been rebuilt. Same way up here, this had been rebuilt. Minor filler work here. There was a dent here. This upper part of this fender had waves in it, so I had to get rid of those. And you can see, like there's a high point. All these other areas around it are basically like low points. So that's what's going on there. Transition, again, pretty minor. Door transition. That's the fender that I had patched, and then I did some more filler work to address that to the door. On the hood, I've got a little bit of filler added here on both front corners, and that's just a precaution because I had used a hammer and dolly to try to reshape these a little bit, so I want to make sure that there's no issues with that. All of these areas is where I had spot welded on the underside, and so just to be cautious, I did use a block and just sanded these down because I want to make sure there's no high points, nothing that's going to show up later in your paint. So again, and that's very smooth. You can see just a shadow of where this one is actually a weld. This one is not. That's just a regular slight imperfection in the metal. That turned out. And then over here, there was actually kind of a dip on this side, right about in this area. And so I just did a long swipe. I'm still not done yet with this. I am using my taco block, and I think this is 180, yep, 180 grit, and just kind of making sure this is smooth. Again, a little bit on this front piece. So the goal is to finish prepping this hood. I will be adding more epoxy. So to do that, I want to take care of the area around these areas because I want to prep this in case when I spray, overspray works its way across, and you want it to be in a roughed up area. So I'm going to go over the whole hood again with a DA and 180 just to make sure everything is prepped. And once I get epoxy here, then I'm going to flip the hood over and I have to address blending the welds just a little because they're kind of obvious and stand out. But that's where I'm at with this. And so I'll show you the next step in just a minute. All right, so the bulk of the prep work is done. You know, I sanded all of the shiny metal with the red Scotch-Brite, and I'm going to clean these up and get them ready to spray. Now there will be obviously, you know, existing epoxy and then new epoxy, so there may be, I don't know if I may spray the whole panel or not, I haven't decided, but everything is ready to go. I have to do some more prep work as far as getting some paper down so I don't get spray on my stand and stuff like that. But yeah, ready to go. You can see, even after I've wiped that down with Windex, you still have some residue. Nice and clean and dry. All right, so I've shown this before. This is the DTM epoxy primer from Summit. This mixes 1-to-1 with the catalyst. I'm going to be using my PPS cups, which I will point out that these cups are probably the first generation design. They have changed the design somewhat. I think they lost their patent rights to these receiver pieces. So there are variations of these. I think you can still get these in a generic form. So that's what I'm going to be using. I'm going to be spraying with my Black Widow spray gun. This has a 1.7 tip on it. I do plan to mix, being 1-to-1 ratio. I do plan to mix, and it's hard to give you a number, but 3 to 3. 3 to 3. And that should give me about 12 ounces, which I feel is going to be plenty for what I'm doing, because I'm not covering entire panels necessarily, but I think that's going to give me enough to do what I want to do. At this point, get a respirator on, and we'll go from there. It says it's ready to go. So all I need to do is get it in the gun and I can start spraying. And it's locked in and we're ready to go. Alright, so I have the epoxy on all the various pieces. I think things are looking much better now with a consistent color on them. And of course, I will have to get everything ready for high build. And that's just going to take a little more work, but nothing major. I want to make sure the epoxy is cured good enough. It's been kind of cold out here in the garage overnight, so I'll have to give us a day or so just to be comfortable with it. All right, things are moving along nicely. I found a little bit of damage, let's say on the passenger side fender right behind the wheel arch. So I need to do a little bit of filler work to that, and that'll be ready for primer. Everything else seems to be coming along nicely, and I'm looking forward to having high build going on all these panels next. I've done a little bit of work to the underside of the hood to get it prepped. I'm not sure if I'm going to do the primer directly to this or wait until I do the top. I'll probably play that by ear and see which way works best for me, but obviously it's going to have to get primer on the bottom side as well prior to color getting on there, just so everything has the same color tone. But I will say I'm happy with how it's looking so far. So while there's more to come, I want to give a shout out to my patrons who are supporting me on this channel, and through their efforts I am going to continue making more videos. Now if you want to be part of the Patreon experience, there's a link in the description below. I'm working on what I will have available on that account, but at this point I'm posting the same kind of videos, but they're going to be longer with more detail. So if you're interested, follow the links and join the team. Otherwise, that'll be it for this video. I want to thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for the support that you offer, even here on YouTube. I appreciate it very much. Thumbs up, likes, comments, all those things help the channel grow, and I'm looking forward to sharing more with you in the future. So until next time, take care of yourselves. See ya.